from Hyderabad, IBM, who has been instrumental in engaging me into this opportunity, and I'm very happy about it. Next, thanks, Sai, for the nice introduction. But again, you talked about somebody being a high-profile person, and I am not such a person actually. Uh, Inshallah, we'll see. That we all grow in this domain, and also in all the domains whichever we are, become high-profile people. Um, Moving on, I just got a quick glance of the demographics that you have shared in terms of the job experience level of the people. So how many people are from the different years of experience groups. But I did not see the demographics of from the people from the different domains. Uh, uh, how many? I mean, anybody from the apart from sci-fi from the semiconductor domain here? Probably you could say put your uh, microphone on and say yes, I am. Anybody from the semiconductor domain already here? So because I just, huh?
This is Sheikh, sir. This is Sheikh Shah.
Okay, from
Vellore Institute of Technology, Vellore.
Vellore Institute of Technology. Welcome, Sheikh. So you are a student or
I'm a research scholar, sir.
you are a research scholar? Wonderful, wonderful.
Yes,
So the next
yes,
question would be,
yes. I am also semiconductor field.
your good name?
My name is Ashish.
Ashish. Okay,
Asim
good.
from
From?
Aligarh Muslim University.
Okay, student or a research scholar or faculty?
I am a student of MTech course.
MTech. Okay, very good, Ashish. Thank you for responding. So, in fact, the objective of understanding the demographics of the people, is that to have a, clear picture of what level of understanding you guys already have, and then how I should take it forward. Because for any good speaker, it is for the speaker to take it in the way the audience would love to have it actually, so that uh, people understand it. So thanks two of you guys for responding to me. But anyhow, I'm not going to talk anything technical. I'm not going to talk anything technical today. It's going to be yes, please. So once again, request all of you to go on mute. And also give a quick introduction about myself. I am from the electronics and communication engineering background. Passed out in the year 1994. So with 25 plus years of experience in the industry in different domains. Of course, started my career with the background in the networking. Got certified by Cisco and Microsoft early in 1998, and then looking for an opportunity to grow in that field. Into the security domain, and then later on worked for a steel plant in the Middle East to set up networking facilities and also ERP software across the enterprise. Then I returned back to India and then looked at the market, and then I decided that I want to go back to my core domain of electronics and communication, and then started working in the field of digital signal processing, embedded, and VLSI. These three areas, and then had a long stint uh, as an entrepreneur, having my own company based out of Coimbatore. I'm today presenting myself from Coimbatore today. Middle of 2017, I took a position in Mirafra Software Technologies as a senior director of sales and business development. And fortunately, I'm heading Chennai and Hyderabad. So working with good top industry clients, the likes of the Intel, the Qualcomms, the Broadcoms, and the Cisco, and all those top companies. We work with them. And I'm personally handling some of the top names like the AMD, the Intel, the Qualcomm, the Xilinx, and people, in locations like Hyderabad and Chennai. So that's a quick introduction about me. So today we are going to quickly see, two things. One is the semiconductor design itself as a market. I'm going to give more trust on that. And after the chip is designed, of course, it has to get into some applications. So I'm going to touch upon predominantly on the mobile communication area, where today we all know, the mobile phones, where the latest technology is being applied both in the semiconductor domain as well as in developing the product. So I'm going to talk about these two areas. Um, um, Today we are sitting here, in a very important situation where the pandemic has disturbed many industries by and large across the globe. However, very fortunate. I would request all of you to go on mute, please. I'm hearing a conversation in between. Sorry for that. Um, Despite all the challenges that 2020 has seen because of the COVID-19 pandemic, one of the most resilient industry vertical during the pandemic has been rated as the semiconductor domain. Uh, Predominantly because of the reasons that like most of the projects currently running or is slotted to come out in the next 2 years or 3 years. Like there's a long roadmap for the semiconductor industry, and this pandemic has particularly not stopped the design services, of course, and market revenue has gone up despite all the challenges the world has seen. Uh, why this is even more important today, talk about semiconductors, if you have seen some of the largest mergers and acquisitions that are happening in the globe today, is in the semiconductor domain. You must have heard of, I mean, I will just present a couple of acquisitions that happened during this year. One of the biggest one that happened was, of course, the NVIDIA and ARM, buying ARM. ARM is one of the world number one company for the IP cores, and then NVIDIA. You all must, whether you are from the technical background or not, you all must have been, user of NVIDIA for many years because of the, the display graphics, the power of the graphics that NVIDIA has given to all the people, irrespective of being technical or non-technical. Like people used to cherish the games because of the NVIDIA process, the graphics processors. NVIDIA buying out ARM, and the other one, which very recently happened a month ago, was the AMD deciding to acquire Xilinx. These are some two largest acquisitions, I would say. From the industry perspective, in terms of the design services market, we should also look at some of the Indian companies being acquired. Like if you look at the kind of companies like the Tech Mahindras and the UST Globals, who were not at all in the semiconductor domain, have acquired the design services organizations recently. The UST Global acquiring a company called Cerium Systems from Bangalore, and then the Tech Mahindra acquiring Cerium Systems, and then UST Global acquiring Servitech Systems. So a lot of, and recently the most recent one is Wipro acquiring a company called Eximus Design. So the market is very, very active, and a lot of consolidation is happening in the market, which is what makes the semiconductor industry, very, very strong, and it's got a long road ahead. Whatever is today, happening, the advancements that are happening, we all know that, as the things are becoming small, like everything is getting shrunk and going inside a small chip. So that is the market here. And if I have to tell, you will be also, if you're not from this domain, you will be surprised to hear that, maybe if you're following up the industry, you would know the Google and the Apple, they were all not considered to be the semiconductor people, but, they have set up large teams to come out with their own semiconductor chips. There is a very recent news that, Apple is not going to use the Intel or the AMD anymore in their, in Intel or AMD in their systems. It's going to be their own chip. So the market is big, and then it's growing very, very fast also. So there's a lot of excitement happening in this industry, and people who would like to look into this as an opportunity should really put their foot into it and then see how they can build a career out of the semiconductor domain. So that's about the largest mergers and acquisitions. Then the world is moving towards the AI, artificial intelligence, and and the AI process are the next big thing happening. So we have seen the CPUs, then we have seen the GPUs, and then now we see a lot of AI processors getting into the market. The world is moving towards AI, and this particular decade, like us. I also do write a lot of articles, I posted on January 1, 2020, the new year, that, this decade is going to be the shifting towards AI. All industries, not just the surveillance or the security, but every industry today is moving towards deploying AI. If I have to share one very interesting discussion on my flight from Bangalore to Hyderabad, just before the pandemic. I was traveling from Bangalore to Hyderabad. My co-passenger sitting next to me was the Apollo Hospital's head of the heart department. He was sitting next to me, and I was really surprised, when the doctor was talking to me completely about the AI processors, and like how the robotics, and he is the first Asian perhaps to do a heart surgery, robotic surgery. There's a company called Da Vinci. He is using those robotics. So everything is shifting towards AI, and he was talking completely about how the next 10 years is going to be bring about a big change in the way the operations are being done. The world across, the operations, or the heart operations, or the major operations are being continuously recorded, and then a lot of information getting into the AI processes. And perhaps in another 10 years, we are going to have the robots do the operations, and then it's going to be only watched by the human doctors. So the world is making a shift towards AI in a very, very big scale. And for all that to happen, if there is one industry that is going to be the reason for all the growth, it is going to be the semiconductor market. Actually, semiconductor. See, we can take semiconductor and embedded as the two tracks of a railway track. Where they have to go hand in hand. So a new processor comes out, and then that parallelly there'll be umpteen applications that would come across along with that. So that's where the world is moving towards. Just to give a quick picture of the semiconductor market picture. October 2020, I have the data for October 2020, not for the November. October 2020, the semiconductor market was $36.8 billion US, which is a 6% increase over 2019. So when the whole world is thinking that because of the pandemic, everything has gone down, the semiconductor market is grown in October 2020 by 6%, increase over its the same time in the last year, in 2019. 2020 growth at 5.51% year on year. So the entire year, October has seen a 6% growth. Despite all the challenges, the market has seen, a couple of months in succession. There was a dip, but despite all the market going slow for a few months, the overall consolidation for the year 2020 is going to be 5.1% year on year. 2021 is 2021 is going to be 8.4% year on year growth, and 2019 semiconductor market was 412 billion US dollars, and then 2020 semiconductor market is going to be 433 billion US dollars. So this data is taken from the website of Semiconductor Industries Association out of the US, America here. Okay? So it's a pretty big market, and then a lot of growth happening. I'm repeating that because I want to take that into your mind very strongly. That the reason why I'm repeating it is there might be a question that might come up in the minds of the people who are pursuing their the education in the VLSI domain or in the embedded domain. Or there are many people who they have completed their engineering graduation, and then in electronics and communication, and then they have done their masters, or they are doing a training program in VLSI or semiconductor, they might feel that no, we have been searching for the jobs, but we did not get. So I'm going to touch upon that very critical point. I would say that was one of the reasons why I wanted to talk today. That's the very most critical part of the today's discussion I would be touching upon. So somebody might feel that we have done a lot of training, but we did not get a job. But still, you say that the market is growing and it's going to be very big. Okay, yes. I'm going to touch upon why I say yes. Okay, moving to the next slide. As I already started, like why is this topic very important in today's context? Actually, if you're all sitting out of India and then listening to me today, the companies are growing their teams in India, and many companies are looking forward to set up their design facilities. Already, all the biggies, the likes of the Intel and the AMD, the Qualcomm, the Cisco's, all of them have huge facilities in India already. And there are many more companies looking forward to set up their design facilities in India. We have, in fact, I do have a slide going down where because I was invited by Shahid from Hyderabad, I did also put a Hyderabad specific slide, to motivate the people of Hyderabad how the semiconductor industry is growing, and all the top 10 companies are now sitting in Hyderabad. One of the biggest giant who has recently come and set up his shop in Hyderabad is, I would say, Micron. If you've heard of Micron, one of the largest memory guys in the world, they have set up their design services in India. See, I have to highlight something here in a red color. I normally do not like to put any text on a red color, but I have put it here on a red color. I've used the red color here. Shortage of skilled workforce is the major challenge. On one side, as we say that there are a lot of people who are pursuing their education, higher education, and also advanced training in this field. But still, I have put it here as shortage of skilled workforce is a major challenge that we are going through. Being in the services domain, I deal personally day in and day out on addressing these, the workforce requirement for all these top companies, day in and day out. End of the day, we always sit on the table to discuss where is all this workforce, how do we bring all this workforce, so that is where the challenge, as a services, as a person in a leadership position in the services organization, the challenge is, we are seeing how do we build this workforce. I have put a word there called skilled workforce. Workforce is available, but we need the skilled workforce. Do we have them? That's the biggest challenge that the industry is going through, despite seeing a huge, very positive roadmap particularly for India in the semiconductor domain. Way back in middle of the last decade, I would say not the last decade, around 2007-8 times, I was actually the part of an association called the Embedded Systems Association of India, which was formed by the Software Technology Parks of India, and I played a good role there. We were convening a lot of events to make that feel that India has proved itself as one of the, not I would say not one of as the leader in the IT and the IT enabled services. And at that time, the likes of 2005, 6, 7, 8, and those times, India did not put its foot very strong in the embedded and the semiconductor domain. But then putting the industry leaders putting a lot of efforts. Today, there is a big transformation that has happened in the last decade. And today, India has also established itself as one of the leaders in the ER&D, what we call as the ER&D, engineering R&D services in the world. I did attend a conference, and of course, virtual conference a couple of months ago, where some of the top industry leaders were present, discussing about how India has, played its crucial role in the pandemic. We all know that, like if it is only a software, where the people can work from home, work from anywhere in the world, and work together, and then make the bring the outcome of whatever was expected. But then the challenge was, how do we also do that for the electronics R&D services? In that context, there was a conference, and then we were really surprised, and then so happy that which was acknowledged by the counterparts from across the world, from different geographies, that India has proved itself, despite the, the initial few weeks, I would say, in the March when the pandemic started, and then we started working from home. There was a lot of question mark in everybody's mind. How are we going to really face the situation and then deliver? I would say, looking at it from today's perspective, October, November, and all. When I interact with most of my clients, and then we understand from all our resources working at different client locations and also our own projects, we see that most of the projects have gone as per the timelines, and then a lot of chips have been taped out during the pandemic, and there has been very few cases where there was a slight delay or anything, but on a whole, the electronics R&D services in India has proved to the whole world that despite the pandemic challenges, we have delivered and met the expectations of the world to come out with whatever designs that were expected to be taped out by this time. So that is the biggest, success factor. I would, put it across here for to motivate all of you. We have proved in the electronics R&D services that we are capable again from India. Okay. So I'm going to come back again to the red flag or the red text that I have put here in one of my slides below. Moving on, just to give from the non-technical people who are sitting here in this presentation, imagine we all see Dubai or UAE, Dubai, as one of the biggest cities, where a lot of action happening. Similarly, if you look at the chip inside today, the kind of density that has gone inside the chip, there are billions of transistors inside a single chip. Okay, so imagine a big city like Dubai going inside a chip. Some lot of transistors, getting inside a chip and then doing numerous things. Today, if you look at, we all know that Intel Core i7, i8, and all the stuff. So imagine the processing power that has gone into these stuff actually. Just to compare it when I started my career, in the middle of mid-90s, I was working for the stock exchange, and then we were shifting from an outcry system of trading to an online trading system. And then we bought at that time the fastest processor in the world from the DEC Alpha, Digital Alpha processor running at 275 megahertz. That was a big thing for us, when we took a decision to buy the best in the world in the middle of 1995. But today, my desktop or laptop or, anything, my mobile phone is carrying 100, I would say, a large processing power in our hand. It has come. So that is the kind of growth that the industry has seen in the last 2 decades. And we all know, as all of us mobile phone users, back and forth, I'll be using the mobile phone as an example to talk about, because all of us know whether we are technical or non-technical. We understand how the the streaming happens, how the cameras behave, how the videos behave. All those we understand because we are more intelligent users of technology today, irrespective of whether we are from a technical background or from a non-technical background. So imagine a kind of a city like Dubai going inside a small chip. So that is the kind of processing power that today these processors are taking. And the data centers, today there are big competition going on between the top industry semicon companies, address the data center market, and special Intel is still the leader there. The data, the semiconductors are playing a crucial role in all the development of the data center. So not just the data centers, be it any field today, the medical electronics or automotive for that matter. It's like today, if we look at the automotive, what has changed in the last 25 to 30 years in the automotive? It is the same four-wheeler, it is the same car, everything is there, but today the cars are fully loaded with all sensors, and a lot of processing happens inside the car. That has made each and every field, the growth in each and every field is a driver for the semiconductor industry. The evolution of very high better mobile phones, the demand from the automotive market, the demand from the semiconductor, demand from the medical electronics. So everything is driving the growth of the semiconductor industry, and it is actually a mutual. And then as the semiconductor industry grows, it drives a lot of new applications to come out in each field. Transportation market, in every different industry, the semicon industry is going to play a huge role, and the market is very big actually. Moving on, just to give you another introduction about something very interesting to understand, uh, fabless manufacturing. Fabless manufacturing is the design and sale of semiconductor chips while outsourcing their fabrication to a specialized manufacturer called a semiconductor foundry. Not all the the semiconductor companies, we call the Qualcomms, so the Intel, everybody are semiconductor companies. But if you look at do all of them own their own chip manufacturing facility? No, they do not own. So they are called the companies who are actually designing their chips and all, and but not manufacturing it on their own. They are called as fabless manufacturing companies. And some of the big companies have even today decided that they are going to focus fully on the design part while outsourcing their entire fabrication work to the semiconductor foundries. So that is a simple in simple for you guys to understand what is fabless manufacturing. Let us say we want to design a nice, beautiful, a structure, steel structure. We go to a foundry or a fabricator, right? So similarly, these top semiconductor companies look at the foundries in the world for to come out with their physical chips actually. So we all know Samsung as one of the, we know them for many years now in India as their, they are their number one TV, the washing machines, on all those products, right? But not many who are not in this domain know about Samsung being the largest foundries in the world. Samsung is still holding the largest market share, followed by TSMC in Taiwan, then the Micron in the USA, SK Hynix in the South Korea, Kioxia and Western Digital in Japan. So these are the top 5 semicon foundries in the world. Okay, so now I'm taking a look back and seeing, people today talk about, when there is something happens in the Kashmir border, and then there is some intrusion by the Chinese, we all immediately, show our patriotism to say that, oh, we have got to stop taking things from China. We should think India, and all this stuff happens. Yes, true, all that. But one question, as a technology leader, as a person from the technical domain, particularly from the semiconductor industry, should I vouch for it? I would say no. So I traveled to China sometime way back in sorry, 2008-9. I visited Hong Kong and then also China. If you look at, there's a place called Shenzhen. Shenzhen is one of the cities, I mean, the very young city in China, across the Hong Kong border, where, they have become the electronics capital of the world. So India has proven itself, in the IT and the IT-enabled services. But even today, we do not have a fabrication facility in our country that can match any of these guys. Or even very very small, we have one in Chandigarh, but that is no way comparable with these biggies which we are seeing in front of us now. So that is the reason why today we are still dependent on the people from the countries like China and Taiwan and Korea to complete the ecosystem. We do not have the complete ecosystem. That is a handicap for us today. But again, a lot of discussions going on about how we bounce back and then catch up with. But we are from this perspective, we are years behind. That is the one handicap which we have. But instead of looking at it as a handicap, but we are growing very big in the design services. But only worry or the concern is that we may design the chip, but we may not be able to manufacture it here, and we still have to import a huge volume of these products from outside of India. Since our new Prime Minister Narendra Modi started, came into the Prime Minister, we have Make in India and all the stuff happening. So despite all those efforts to make in India, where we are, earlier we used to import all the, let's say take for example LED lighting and stuff. We used to import everything as a product, but then the Make in India has, we have set up a lot of automated, assembly lines, but then we still have to import all the LEDs and all the electronics and the chips and all the stuff from outside of India. So despite the effort, to improve or like I would say become more independent in terms of the end products, we are still way behind in terms of becoming totally independent in terms of the electronics manufacturing is concerned. So it's going to take a lot more time for India to make its presence in that field. So that's we are in the backseat here. Going from the technology perspective, you must have all seen, uh, again, from a non-technical perspective, let us take an example of the pen drives or the thumb drive. So we first time when we started using, we were so excited about the small the pen drives, a few MB of pen drives. It became GB. Now we are today talking about having pen drives with 128 GB and all the stuff. I have personally worked with started my career with a hard disk of less than 1 GB hard disk size. Okay, but today on our thumb we are going to have such a huge volume of memory in our hand. So why is that all possible today? Is because of how the integration of all the transistors, or the high level of integration that has gone into the semiconductor design. Okay, see today, in 2020, when companies like Xilinx and all touched the 7 nanometer. So the terminology used here is called as a nanometer, which is called as a technology node nanometer. Touched the 7 nanometer, the industry was saying, wow, that's, but today, people are going forward. And today I heard that Samsung is working on 2 nanometer. Apple is coming out with its, I think it has come out with its, chip on 5 nanometer, 2 nanometer, 3 nanometer. So the more and more integration, the more and more facilities are being built inside a single chip. The integration levels is going, the density is increasing continuously. So which is why today we are able to see many things, in a very small device. Okay, this is what we normally call. As a simple example, you must have seen that like how the thumb drives, which we use for storage and put in our pocket, as have from a small quantity, from few megabytes of memory that we had before few years. Today we are talking of thumb drives with lot of 128 GB of memory and all, or even more. So that's about a quick introduction about the semiconductor market. Just to give you an exact one, today, I mean, if we have to talk about the industry and then get deeper into it, we can even have a one-day conference or even more than that to talk about how the penetration of the semiconductor in each and every industry is happening. Okay, so I stopped there about talking about the industry. Then moving on to what really matters to us. Okay, or where is that today as a company, in my current role as a senior director in an organization, where is the challenge which I talked about in a red highlighted text. I'm going to talk more about that in the next few minutes. Okay. So as we looked at comparing building a city like Dubai into a small chip, similarly, let's say, for example, when we're going to construct a building, let's say we want to today, today we want to build huge building. Let's say, for example, a Salarpuria Satwa or something like that. We want to build a Prestige Meridian in Bangalore or Salarpuria Satwa in Hyderabad, wherever it is. We want to build a huge building. So first thing we do is a design, okay, and then we have different teams, people who are working in it. We have the architects, we have the people who come and do the design. We have the people who take care of the construction. There's a lot of steel reinforcement goes inside. a lot of plumbing work goes inside, a lot of electrification, a lot of air conditioning. Sorry. Only after we put all those efforts does the building come up, right? Similarly, the small chip that we are holding in our hand also goes through a similar cycle, starting from the architecture to the design, then to the finally the chip coming out. So I'm not going to talk too detailed into it from the technical perspective, but I'm going to touch upon some of the key skill areas today. We want many people with good experience. Unfortunately, as I said before, there's a huge skill force, missing, and then we really need, to fill the gap to really look at or grab all the opportunities that is coming into India. There has been many projects which I myself have personally seen that there is a competition between the Indian team and the team sitting in the United States and all, and of course the other geographies of the world also. If India has to win all the projects and really grow big in the semiconductor design services, which we are already trying to do, but still grow further big or consolidate much more, all that we need is the people. So today, just taking it from a very large, wider perspective, I have put some of the skills that today we need on a daily basis. We are looking for different companies for at different phases of their, the chip design need different. So like as I told you, giving an example of a building, and I'm trying to compare the same thing here. First we have to put the foundation, then we have to start the masonry work, then we have to start working on the plumbing, the electrification work will start, then the air conditioning work will start, and all those works that goes on one after the other, the sequence it starts, and finally all of us work together to complete the building, and then the inauguration happens, right? So similarly, in the semiconductor domain, all these people, at the different phases of the chip design, have to put in all their efforts. We have the RTL design, then we have the synthesis STA, physical design, design verification, design for test, analog layout. All these things, like these are called as the ASIC. The one highlighted in the blue are called the ASIC. And we have another thing which some of you might know, and even if you do not know, this is called as the field programmable gate arrays, which is also one of the semiconductor area. Hyderabad, we have a company called Xilinx, which is the world leader in the FPGA market. So the advantage of FPGA is that, like if you have some idea in your mind, like before you put it into a chip and then the chip comes out, these field programmable gate arrays can be used to realize, if this design will start working, how to do it, design improvements, all those things can be done in a field programmable gate array. Then probably the chip can go in for a physical ASICs. When I say ASIC, it's called as application specific integrated circuits, vis-a-vis the FPGAs, which are used in the initial phases of any new design to become out. And there are also a lot of applications today in the market where people do not really look at the ASIC itself, but they still continue to use FPGAs for completing their design or even developing our system and then going on. So these are some of the skills. Touching upon the concern I had here, let me talk about. So that is why I should not forget. I put the word training here. Okay, there are many training institutions that has come up in Bangalore and Hyderabad. I would say Hyderabad has been very well placed today in terms of the semiconductor domain, which has really overtaken Chennai for that matter. Chennai could not really catch up with the growth that Bangalore has seen in building an ecosystem for the semiconductor industry. But however, Hyderabad, with some of the large companies looking at Hyderabad as the place, maybe the political climate there, or the policies of the government, or it could be the the lot of incentives given by the government of Telangana. Hyderabad has caught up very well in building an ecosystem. We're going to see a couple of companies which are there in Hyderabad also, because as I told you before, the Shahid Bhai invited me, so I thought it's got a lot of people from Hyderabad who's going to attend. So I put one specific slide for Hyderabad. So talking about the training industry, like there are a lot of people who are doing training in this field. Many people after their engineering, after their MTech in VLSI, and then they march towards Hyderabad and Bangalore to start training, get into a training institute to look at this semiconductor as an opportunity. See, I may be a little harsh here, but we have to speak reality. Okay. So, are we ready to eat a half-baked food? We are not, right? So, we always want food to be, let's say, we are going to a restaurant and then we are ordering a grilled chicken or a tandoori chicken. Sorry if there are any vegetarian people here, to kindly excuse me. Let's say we order a grilled chicken or a mandi, a lahem mandi, or maybe after this session you guys can go and have it, or a barbecue or whatever it is. Let's say you are served with the food and then you have to eat not so well cooked food. Let's say you see that you start eating it and then you see that the food is not well cooked. Would we continue to have it or we wouldn't, right? So that is the situation. So that's why I said I'm talking a little harsh, but I'm trying to put it in a very polite way. um, that is the way today the industry is. Sorry, many people take up the training, but like they don't get fully cooked. Very, very unfortunate. Yes, of course, there are a lot of patience required, to get yourself ready to be looked upon by the market. Okay, so we need to have all-round skills. It is not just, so there was a time when, when somebody, let's say in the 90s, if somebody was completing an engineering, people used to say that, take their son or daughter to somebody known to them, and then say, my son has completed engineering. Can he get a job? Something, and then there were some people ready to help, and then they would say, ask your son to come in the next week. Yes, we will give him a job, and he'll start his job and all. Like that happened. And then later on, that situation changed. Today, nobody can give such a reference. Actually, like everybody have to build skills. As long as you don't have the right skills, you cannot really make your presence felt, or you can, for that matter, grow in the career. So today there are many people somehow make an inroad into the career, but unfortunately they are not able to scale up in their career after a few years of being in that role. Either they have to technically keep themselves updated, or either they have to grow in the leadership ladder. So they don't really concentrate on both areas. Actually, like what are very unfortunate that like as soon as they get into a job, they feel that they have all the skills, and then they are to settle in a career. So next is I have to go in for all the as one of my friends says, my fridge is a loan, my car is a loan, my house is a loan, only my wife is owned, right? Like in that sense, like everything goes, and then we all are very happy. I got into a job. We don't scale up in terms of our skills. Very unfortunate. Like I'm seeing a lot of people today struggling to scale up in their career. I'm not just talking about the semiconductor market alone, but in many such fields actually. So okay, coming back to the semiconductor field, I see a lot of people who get into the training, and then see, you cannot expect somebody to give you a job as soon as you say that, yes, man, I put my hands up. How many of you have completed your physical design training? Yes, there are today. If you look at Bangalore for that matter, we can have a big queue that can start from Silk Board to Marathalli. If you know the geography of Bangalore. There are so many institutes that has come, and there are so many people from Andhra, Telangana, and Tamil Nadu, and Karnataka who are, and of course, there are a lot of people coming from Ahmedabad also to pursue their training in the semiconductor field. But then, did they really put in their efforts to master themselves? Where you say that, yes, I do have the skill and I'm ready for the market, and then I'm ready to attend interviews. I'm ready to improve myself on a continuous basis, and then someday I'll patiently wait and I'll get into this field. If I tell you these salaries, maybe I did not put it here, but still, I think I should say one of the other challenge today we are seeing in this field is I'm going to motivate all of you who are not in this domain. Like the day by day, on every day, the challenge that or the fight that goes on in our organization, you know, between the sales and the engineering and the talent acquisition team. Every day we sit on the table to discuss about the salaries. My daughter keeps asking me, you know, Daddy, what is this? You're always talking about 20 lakhs, 25 lakhs, 30 lakhs, 40 lakhs and all, you know, that you wouldn't believe this people who are not in this domain. I'm talking about 20, 25 salary for a 4 to 5 years experience guy who's really, really strong. Uh, I do not know if there are any field in this today we have. There are a couple of other areas also other than semiconductor domain where you know these salaries are there, but still those who have patiently waited and got into this field, of course, the first 2 years are going to be first 2 to 3 years are going to be very, very tough, and you have to sail through the tide, and then you reach a situation where that yes, man, I have got a good roadmap ahead, and then keep continuously improving your skills, and then you demand and you get it. That's it. So I'm talking about for 25 lakh CTC for somebody who's technically very strong, who has 4 to 5 years experience, you know, in this domain. So that is the biggest challenge. So earlier I touched upon a topic called shortage of skilled workforce. On the other side, those who are really skilled are demanding too big. You know, when the companies come to India to set up their shop, they think that, you know, like we are today every business. Why is that India is taking advantage today? Is that globally all companies are looking at a low cost geography. So in that way, compared to the Americas and the Europes, we are a low cost geography for them. So that is the cost advantage that the world is looking at, or any of the technology companies looking at coming into setting up a shop in India to, you know, take the cost advantage. But these really technically skilled guys are demanding huge money. Okay, so on one side we have problem of getting the right people, on the other side the right people asking for huge salaries. You know, like, so that is the market all about. It's very, very, very strong. So, but you have to, the first 2 to 3 years is going to be tough, and then getting into this field, and then putting your foot very strong, and then after 2 to 3 years you feel that yes, man, I have got up with the strong skills. And as I told you again, I'm repeating it. You should not stop increasing your skills. The skills have to come continuously be nurtured or improved, so that you keep growing in this domain. So that is something which I feel that there are many people in the market looking at opportunities, or even after getting opportunities, I see a lot of people who are half-baked. I'm sorry, I'm being a little harsh in putting that word, but that is, I think that is I'm putting it very polite in a very simple words, that, you know, people do not understand that, you know, they have enough skills to establish themselves. You know, it is not just, I have finished a training program in VLSI in a physical design or design verification or DFT. I need a job. There was a situation before a few years where, you know, somebody who were trained freshers or demand in the market. Yes, today also trained freshers are. So where do I start? So if you have a question, where do I start as a fresher, trained fresher? Is there an opportunity? I would say a big yes. But trained fresher also should have skills, because as I told you, the queue is going to stretch from Marathalli to Silk Board. So which means the companies who are going to pick and choose have options to pick the right candidate. They're ready to interview. Recently, one of my clients, I'm not going to say you the name, called me and said that, you know, they were looking for a candidate for a full-time role. They have been interviewing so many candidates. He said, Azad, we have spent a few weeks of man time from my team to identify the right candidate, but still we are looking for, and that's why we have reached out to you. Okay, so that is the current situation in the market. You know, that we have two sides of it. One is a shortage of skilled team people. On the other side, we have the challenge of a huge salary demand by the skilled workforce. So this is the challenge for us actually. So this is about the semiconductor. Going to the roles in embedded, so I'm going to move a little faster. Again, I'm talking of a company which is into mobile phones. So for that, because we all understand, you know, like, okay, when a chip is designed, okay, semiconductor we have seen, you know, building a company, you know, and the buildings. I mean, this is something like building a huge building and then setting getting the electrification done, getting the plumbing done, and the building is ready. Okay. After the building is ready, we need to give life to the building, right? We have to put on the lights, we have to put on the furniture, we have to write the, put the cameras and all those things. That is, I would put it as the embedded stuff, actually, like giving life to the chip that was designed with the software and all the stuff and making it work. Let us take, for example, a mobile phone. You all must be knowing today. See, in 2007, I did a project using a, accelerometer. Those days, if I have to say, how many of you knew about accelerometer? There are only very few people who would say that. Two people in the technology domain, they knew about accelerometer. Today, a school-going kid knows what is an accelerometer because it is in your mobile phone. People know what is gyroscope. People know megapixel. Like small kids or absolutely non-technical people are writing reviews about the performance of the cameras, actually, performance of the audio, performance of the video, and all those stuff. Like today, it is becoming more of common sense. So, how is the industry going to face the high common sense people? The non-technical common sense people who think more about technology, and they are the people who drive the changes in the technology domain. So I'm taking an example of how many people today are thousands of people are working for a company. Like let's take for example Qualcomm in Hyderabad, which is today most of us know Qualcomm. In fact, I have asked many people in some of the presentations. People don't know Qualcomm, but people know Snapdragon. Snapdragon is something which they are carrying in their hand, right? So Snapdragon is from Qualcomm. So let's take for example, we are so happy using our mobile phones, using the cameras, using the Wi-Fi, using the Bluetooth, using a very beautiful audio, the camera making people look beautiful. All the stuff are happening in our handheld mobile phone device. But how much of work is going on inside, getting this product ready and before it is sold into the market? Okay, my chip is ready. Is that all over to get it into the mobile phone and make it work? No, not at all. There are thousands of people, I'm putting it, thousands of people who are working to ensure that the mobile phone or the chip is used efficiently, and the people are happy, and they are efficiently using the phone. So I remember having used one of my previous phones. I always feel that if I get into the WhatsApp and then if I put my data on, my battery is draining fast. You all must have seen that, come across that phase before a few years, and even now some of our phones have that problem. I'm taking a very simple example now for somebody to understand whether you're from a technical background or from a non-technical background. For example, like today, some way, today I'm using a OnePlus phone, and then we have better charging capabilities and then better backup, battery backup. Sorry. So there are a lot of work that goes on by this company. The example that you have taken is Qualcomm, in bringing out the phone or the chip to be given to the mobile phone manufacturers. Okay, there are different roles that are involved. I have put a few of them, and not all of them could be put here. Firmware engineer, build-in integration engineer, computer vision, core BSP, device driver developers, test automation, pure test questions, testing the LTE. There's a 4G, 5G, the Wi-Fi chips, Wi-Fi part of the chip, the Bluetooth, the camera, the audio, video, and not last but not the least, the Android. Then we need a lot of developers for WLAN, Bluetooth development, modem development, power management. So a lot of work is going on before the chip goes into a mobile phone, and then we start enjoying it actually. So let's say, for example, we want to use use the WhatsApp, and then we use the camera, we take video, how the memory is optimized. I forgot to put the memory part here. How the memory is optimized, how is the, today we are very happy about the 4K videos and all, right? Still, I need to ensure that the memory usage is less. When I keep my camera on, my battery usage, how is it the battery usage? So lot of optimization, lot of work, improving the drivers, improving the firmware, improving the energy efficiency of the handheld device, and then the increasing the speed of the let's say I'm connecting it to Wi-Fi, I'm connecting it to Bluetooth. So a lot of work is going on, and then Android, new versions of Android keeps coming, and then how do I make my phone work for new versions of Android? And then we also keep, let's say I'm using OnePlus. Even today, my phone says you have to update your OnePlus 60 Oxygen OS. You know, continuously there are a lot of efforts goes on in by embedded software people also. So on one side, we have seen that there are chip designers, who bring out the chip. On the other side, to give life to the chip that has been designed, there are more people. I would say the embedded software people are much more required in the industry today to give life to the chips, because one chip, let us say one chip is designed that goes into numerous applications. The same chip can go into a industrial automation. The same chip goes into a medical electronics. The same chip goes into an automotive device. The same chip can get into a surveillance. So there are thousands of applications that can be developed over a single chip. The chip is out, keeping in mind that it is going to support all these application areas, and there are hundreds and thousands of people who start sitting and developing the software, or I would call it as the embedded software, to give life to the semiconductor and then make it realized by the end users actually. So I've taken a simple example of this Qualcomm Snapdragon and how they are going to the embedded software. So many people are there. Thousands of people are working in Qualcomm Hyderabad, the Mindspace, to make all this work. I mean, not only in India but across the world to make it. I mean, bring it in India. So I have highlighted a small text on the uh, in yellow. Today, very, very unfortunate to say that there are many people who have completed their engineering. Here in this role, it is not necessarily that somebody only from ECE has to be there. Plenty of opportunities for the computer science, the IT people, and then the ECE, the EEE. All these people have huge opportunities, but only way still even after all this growth has happened, the technology has evolved so much, everything has happened, but still the most required programming language is C, data structures. And today Python is playing a big, big role. So if you see, there is a line called test automation. There are many people who are using different scripting languages like the Perl or the TCLs and the Python also. But today Python has, I would say, is the most used scripting language, for writing automation scripts. For example, today I will give you an example of somebody is already in a test position. Recently, we have seen many of our engineers are scaling up to a higher level or higher slabs because they are putting their time and efforts to build more skills to add. They have been test guys. They are adding Python scripting skills, test writing automation scripts, and they're doing it very efficiently. And the last 2 years, a lot of our engineers have got appreciation from their respective client managers, saying that like your guys have scaled up on Python, and it has been very helpful for our teams. And then we are scaling them to a higher role. We are very happy, and they in the all hands meetings they are being appreciated, they are being recognized. All this is happening. So my dear friends, if you are starting your career in an embedded software, keep yourself very, very strong in the C and the Pythons. And there are some areas where the tool development happens. C++ plays a big role, and you should also have a good grasp of the peripherals and the protocols. For example, let us say there's a huge team sitting in Qualcomm Hyderabad, a few thousand, close to 1,000 people. Just to ensure that the modem is working fine in the mobile, in the chip that is coming out. So the LTE protocol, the 5G, is a huge. Qualcomm is the leader in the 5G segment. So just to ensure that it is working fine, there are thousands of engineers working in this domain. Okay, so today there are also plenty of training institutes for the basic embedded software, and today there are also training institutes in Bangalore and Hyderabad who train people on the LTE and the 5G, and also on areas like WLAN and all, to become testing and also to become developers also. If you're really, I have seen many engineers who are very, very focused. I always want to work into development. And there are development roles, there are also test roles. And today there is something in between, test automation also. So different skilled people are required in the embedded domain also. Okay, so plenty of opportunities. So you don't have to work only looking at the semiconductor chip design. But for one chip design, there are thousands of engineers required to develop software actually. And over and above this, of course, like I'm not touching upon today is the application developers. There are a lot of applications that has to sit on top of this, the chip, on top of that, they embedded the drivers and the firmware, and on top of that, the application on the cloud and all the stuff comes on top of that. Okay. So plenty of opportunities ahead. But going back to my strong point, the reason why today I wanted to accept my opportunity and talk about this, my defense, please understand, building a skill is important, and going in depth is also very, very important if you want to really establish yourself. So we are not going to give our, let us say, are we going to give our, somebody has unmuted actually. Sorry. Yeah. So will we be ready to give construction of a house to a not so good civil engineer or a plumber, or even if it is a small tap that is leaking in our house? If we have a previous experience of somebody who came and he broke the tap, and then we had to spend a lot of money to fix it. Are we going to even call the plumber to replace the tap? No, we wouldn't do it, right? Similarly, for every field, for that matter. So we do have so many people in the list, a very old person still here. If we are ready to wait, even if the 2 days he's delaying, we want only that plumber to come or that particular electrician to come and fix the thing, small thing in our house. We still do wait for them actually. So the reason is because they do their work very properly. Similarly, in every field, whichever field we are, okay. As I was listening to one of the speeches, of the CDAC director, Misbah, I think his name is Misbah. Once I was listening to his talk in one of the masjid in Hyderabad. He was telling, he was addressing a group of IT people. He said, try to be the best always. Okay. We always have an attitude that he's not doing so much work. He's not doing so. Why should I put in so much of work? Don't have that question at all. Always keep yourself as the best in the team. Have that attitude. That is the only attitude today which can keep you, growing in your career. Always, I am working for all the money that I'm getting. No, that too, particularly when you are in the first few years of your career, you have to really, really, really work hard. Don't worry about how much you're getting paid, but all the efforts, no effort to improve your skills is going to go waste. You may realize your, financial growth in a year or 2 years or 3 years, but you will certainly, I have seen so many people after jumping after the 3 to 4 years experience, they double or even more than that in their salary levels. But they would have developed so much of skills working on some good projects and then involving themselves in those projects to ensure that they have such a strong skills. I see people who double or even go beyond that at the end of 3 or 4 years when they really make a shift. Okay. And moving on from here, I'm touching upon few horizontal skills. Today, the reason why I thought for a while before putting this slide, but then I thought it makes sense for me to put the slide also. Today, another area where, the technical managers today, I think people like Shahid Bhai and Saif Bhai also would agree to me that as a part of the JD, as a part of the job description, today we have started seeing all these things, about attitude, about good communication skill. It's a technical job, but still, people look at all these things: good attitude, good communication skills, good written communication. See, I have seen cases where an excellent engineer somehow managed to do well in the interview, got into the job, but had to come out of the position just because of not having good communication skill. See, you have to come, in a working environment where, today we have people from diversified, different geographies, people from different, languages, speaking languages coming together to places like Bangalore, Hyderabad, Chennai, and all to work together. But your manager may be from a different language, but if you're not able to communicate well and you don't interact regularly and then update whatever work you're doing, you will not be recognized for that, for sure. And I have also seen many cases where, after putting a lot of efforts, they do not know how to report whatever work they have done. Being good team player, good presentation skills. So one of the most important thing today, even though I have seen many people that at the end of the interview, I have heard my client feedbacks that, Azad, this engineer, though he did not possess all the skills, we are ready to compromise because we found that he is a quick learner. He has good attitude. I'm touching first line and the last line. So though he did not have technical 100% technical skills which we expected, and we have see only 50%, but still we see him to have good attitude and quick learning capabilities. So we would like to go for him. Okay. And last but not the least, adaptability. You should be ready to adapt to any working environment. Suddenly, you're once you get into an organization, you might have joined under a different lead or a different manager. Sorry, the new job, there is a new project coming in, or your manager moves somewhere else, or your lead moves somewhere else. You are sitting very comfortable, and then suddenly you are under a new lead. I've seen many cases where people have failed because the lead changed, the manager changed, because the previous assignment, the manager was very friendly, the lead was very friendly. He was keeping you in the shadow, doing all the work for himself. But suddenly you move to a new team, a new lead is there who is expecting you to do everything. You're gone. Okay, so adaptability is something very, very important. So involvement, for that matter, I'm using the word involvement. Whatever you're doing, you have to involve yourself be very committed on whatever you're doing, and then that will give you a very strong foundation for your career growth. Okay. uh, so moving to the Hyderabad perspective slide. Today, because I'm heading Hyderabad also, so I thought, and as I saw, like the invite came from a Hyderabad person. Sorry. So I have put the slide. Today, we have in Hyderabad Intel, Broadcom, Qualcomm, Micron, AMD, NXP, Xilinx, Medtronic, Honeywell, Nvidia, Oppo, OnePlus. So all these companies are having their design centers in Hyderabad. Okay. So with these slides, I would like to say thank you for the opportunity, and thanks to Shahid for inviting me for this presentation, and then Sai for coordinating for the initial stages of this presentation. Now I'm open for questions. And I hope, I was able to touch upon some of the areas that you guys might have come with an expectation to understand. So there is a small kid who is responding to me saying that, I liked it. And then I want to be into the semiconductor and embedded field. Thanks to the small baby, acknowledging to my thanks. And then see, I did not go technically inside at all, but I just wanted to give you an overview and gives you some excitement about the opportunities in this field, about the semiconductor and embedded field. And, I'm open for questions. Thanks, Shahid, for this invite, and happy to be a part of this initiative. Only request or suggestion would be for a good speaker. Always the motivation is to see more number of audience in there. Despite being a lot of efforts, I think today Shahid also tried to move this from a Saturday calendar to a Sunday calendar so that more people can come. But people should understand the importance of these events, and then should take an arm, as rightly said by Saibhai in the initial introduction, should make use of these opportunities to understand, and then if not for themselves, share it with the people, and then see how this will benefit them for their career growth. So here is my coordinates. I trust this session was give you an insight about these two industries, semiconductor and embedded, both goes hand in hand, and I'm open for a couple of questions now. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Azad. That was a really nice and wonderful presentation. So we can have related discussion, and if any questions are there.
I truly appreciate Mr. Azad for throwing a light on the changing transformation of technology and all. I really appreciate, and thanks for your efforts. Keep on. Please, I once again a humble request to keep on regularly updating in this regards.
You keep inviting me, I'll keep coming and doing it. No problem. I'm very happy. Can you please introduce yourself quickly?
Myself, Mohammad Anisuddin, working for Sure Infotech in Hyderabad.
Okay.
I definitely am into the same domain, but into IT field. I'm a systems administrator by profession.
Okay. Good. 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 So probably we can have more updates maybe once this pandemic situation. Oh, I wanted to actually. In fact, I wanted to start saying this. Today I have completed 9 months in my hometown, Coimbatore. So I used to be traveling to Bangalore, Hyderabad, and Chennai week on week.
Yeah, Mr.
Yeah.
Azad. Thank you very much, and all appreciations for this efforts.
Yeah. My pleasure, Anizuddin. Yeah. Any questions or any inputs here?
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam. First, before you talk, I would appreciate if you could give a quick introduction. That is the name and what you do, and then ask the question.
Yes, sir. My name is Syed Wasiullah.
Syed.
Syed Wasiullah.
Okay.
And I'm a EC graduate completed and completed engineering in 2012, sir. Later on, I worked for just for 1 year, sir. Based in Hyderabad. It's a small company known as MJ Electronics. After that, because of some family troubles and all those things, I have to move from Hyderabad and I shifted to my native place, sir, which is Peddapalli in Karimnagar district. And there I have to look after my family business. And because of this pandemic, our business gone worse, sir. Now, is there any chance of moving, like switching to again in my core industry, sir?
You are 2012 passed out, is it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I see some. Let's say I'm reading your question again. But like I passed out my engineering 2012. I worked for one electronics company for a year, and then I went back home, and then I watched. Can I come back into the industry? It cannot be a general. It cannot be a common answer for everybody to say yes. Okay, so if I am saying yes, I'm wrong. If I say no, I'm wrong. So it all depends on how much efforts we put and where do we put our efforts. Particularly on the if you are in the semiconductor chip design, it's going to be possible, but still it's going to be more harder. But in the embedded software, if you are looking at building good skills and then getting into the opportunity, yes, there is a possibility. Perhaps I really appreciate brother for putting this question across and being very. It needs confidence to put a question in a forum like this, and I really appreciate you for that because that is something which everybody wouldn't do it. First of all, you have the confidence to put a question across. I appreciate you. Please do take my email ID and coordinates. Probably I need to understand more about your case and then the kind of skills that that you would be interested in to give a more precise answer to you about how. Because as I told, if I say yes only, it is wrong. If I say no only, it is wrong. But it depends on the individual for that matter. And but let us be a little optimistic and then see how I can help you in this regard. Actually, you can ping me. I would appreciate if you could probably send out your profile on my email ID and then ping me on my WhatsApp. Then I will be giving you a time slot for a call.
Thank you, sir.
It is the same with anybody. If you would like to get in touch with me, I always appreciate people who would like to ping me on WhatsApp first on about giving a brief introduction on the context, and I'll be giving it ready to give a time slot. When I would like to take a call with you.
Okay,
And
sir.
and Saturday is the day I mostly do it. Actually. I wish you all the best, brother. Be positive. Let's see how we can do it.
Hello, sir.
Any other questions?
Sir, am I audible?
Always, am I audible? Will be very audible. Go ahead.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your wonderful information, sir. Myself, I'm Sheikh Shawali from Bangalore Institute of Technology.
I didn't get your name. Please come again.
Sir, my name is Sheikh Shawali.
Sheikh Shah Ali. Please go ahead.
Scholar,
You're from which college?
Vellore Institute of Technology, sir.
Oh, VIT. Oh, okay. Okay.
So
Tell me.
presently, I'm a research scholar.
You're a research scholar. Okay, good.
Yes, yes, sir. I have two questions, sir.
Okay, please go ahead.
First one is, I mean, generally, if we complete the PhD, so most of the people will go either in a field like common field, which is a teaching field.
Hmm.
So, but so what is the actual process if you go on to in this industry, into the industry like fabrication part? So, what are the things we need to take care of, and can you elaborate it?
What is your specialization area?
Um, Actually, I will work for a wide bandgap semiconductor, so which is gallium nitride. So, I will do device modeling actually.
Device modeling. Okay.
So, uh, so in that,
See, there are people, like even last year, there somebody was close to, age factor is also there. Don't mistake for touching that point. And also attitude counts a lot. See, even last year, exactly in the December last year, we hired somebody who is from Odisha, who has completed his doctorate and also done some research. He has worked on developing some VIPs for the design verification. He joined us today. He is working in our client location in a big client. It is possible to get into the industry in a very technical role. So it all depends on your research, and also this. You see, in addition to whatever research you have, it also depends on the skills that you carry. So, there are some companies who really value the research that has been done. Particularly in the companies which I referred here. It all depends on the research that you have done, and then your paper speaks a lot. I give the same suggestion to you also, brother, that we'll have a one-on-one discussion. Probably these questions cannot be answered in a very general context. It may be yes for somebody, it may be no for somebody. It all depends on the individual and also the attitude. I'm putting attitude again, attitude, and then the willingness to build skills and move on. So please share your more details about yourself on my email ID, and then perhaps as I told you, ping me on WhatsApp. Probably we should have a call next Saturday.
yes, sir. And my second question is, you have placed last before slide Hyderabad advantages.
Hmm.
So in that we have companies lot more in semiconductor industry. Actually, we don't have information about lot of semiconductors are working in Hyderabad.
Hmm.
This presentation only we came to know. Okay, we have a lot of opportunities here.
Yeah, where are you from?
Sir, I'm from actually nearby 200 kilometers from Hyderabad. I'm from Andhra Pradesh. Proper.
Which place?
Kurnool.
Kurnool.
Yes.
Okay, you're on the Hyderabad Bangalore highway. You can go this side or that side. Don't only look at Hyderabad.
Yes, sir.
Hmm?
The thing is, sir,
So Hyderabad, Kurnool means you can go in the night, go back home. Huh?
yes.
So I see a lot of people having that attitude, like go back home early. Okay. So yes, there are a lot of companies coming to Hyderabad. Hyderabad is growing, and there is, unlike, I wouldn't say that the semicon ecosystem has grown as big as Bangalore is, but I would say in the last 3 years, I've been coming to Hyderabad for the last 2.5 years. I have seen that compared to what it was 2.5 years back, today the ecosystem is growing. So you can look at opportunity in Hyderabad.
So a research scholar can apply.
Yeah, the example I gave of we hiring a research PhD guy and then making him work in one of our clients is working in Hyderabad. See, as I told you, some of the companies, one is skill. In addition to the skill, they also look at your very strong academics also. Okay, so that is also a matter. Okay, there are some companies who want to hire only IITians. Some people we don't want to have anybody less than NIT. But the things are changing. Okay, there are people who look at anybody, but they should have strong academics and also because when I'm answering this question, I should also tell that strong fundamentals are very important. Let's say, for example, you want to become a design verification engineer. You will be really screwed with a lot of questions from the digital electronics fundamentals. You may be a 3-year experience guy or a 4 years experience guy, but still your digital fundamentals, your logical thinking. I think I forgot to put it in this slide. Today, particularly in the semiconductor domain and also in the embedded, people are asking for, let me put it here so that all of you can see, 2 things, problem solving skills, logical reasoning. Did you see me update the 2 points here?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So this is also very, very important for somebody to, get into this field. Actually, very, very important. So I would appreciate it, brother, if you could probably ping me offline into my WhatsApp.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Maybe a couple of more questions. Any more questions? Sci-fi, we are close to 12:30, and I don't see any questions coming up. So,
Azad, I think there was one question in the chat.
oh,
Can
in the
you
chat,
take
is
a
it?
look there? Yeah.
Let me know your number, please. I think I presented, right? You could have taken my number from here. Was it visible or not? My number is here. It's visible now. Shahid bhai, in the Q&A slide, my number is visible.
Yeah. So, yeah. It's visible.
Okay.
So there is another question: why no analog?
Why no analog circuit design? So there is one here. I think I put here.
Yeah.
I put it as analog layout. There's also analog circuit design also here. Yeah, I answered question. Yes, it's here. When I put this, when I put the skills here, I put as analog layout. Circuit design will also come. Any other questions?
I think someone asked for the presentation as well. So if
I think I can share it with either of you.
We'll be sharing the recordings, so everything will be there in the recording. Yes, sir.
Yeah, maybe one small request would be not to use this presentation as it is for any of your presentations.
So, any other questions or point of discussions we have? Otherwise, Azad bhai, I have one small question.
You can ask a big question, no problem.
Okay, so big question to big shots. So why don't we see within India the semiconductor industries or the startups from within India? That is the original. Let us say even the fabless companies like the ARM or anything like that.
Okay. See,
what stops India from bringing out those kind of startups?
Okay, so there are companies. Now if you look at, I'll give you only 2 examples of companies. Like there is a company called Tinkai or Blaze in Hyderabad, and of course there's a company called Nuvia in Bangalore. They're all startups, in India. But again, their basic is somewhere in the US and in the UK actually. I really appreciate your question. See, you have to have that confidence level to really look at or aspire for bringing out your own chip and all, right? Okay. So in that way, first, to answer your first question, semiconductor, why we don't have the big manufacturing of foundries? Um, uh, Sam Pitroda, you heard of Sam Pitroda, a politician, and who was also, I
Yeah,
think, very close to, our early former Prime Minister Indira Gandhi also. So
right.
he was in the government role. So in one of the forums where I had a chance to interact with him in a question answer session, particularly, I did ask this question to him. Why? Because he was drafting a lot of proposals for in this particular area. So I asked this question, but he said there are a lot of efforts starting from 1986 or something. He told, or not 1986, even before that, a lot of efforts went on, but unfortunately nothing has been realized so far in our country. To my knowledge, thinking beyond politics, we needed a strong leader I put the word very clearly. Thinking beyond politics, somebody who has really inspired me as an IT leader is Dayanidhi Maran, who was IT minister for the country. He really drove this particular growth in a very big way. If at all for his efforts, like if you've seen Nokia's and the Foxcons and all those big companies, Motorola, coming into India and setting up their shop before 15, 20 years. Sorry, he was the IT minister, and then it was during his tenure, when really a semiconductor policy was drafted by the government. But unfortunately, due to various reasons, he had to leave the job and go. But I still feel that somebody who has that focus, the vision, and the drive is very important for the country to have to realize a growth or to be present in the semiconductor foundry map in the world. If we're going to have one, we need somebody who can drive it. So as of now, my question is totally non-political, but I'm answering this question from an industry perspective as an industry leader. That is the answer I would like to give. But to answer your other question, there are a lot of startups who are setting up in India, but somehow or other they have been in they have their presence in the US or in the UK. They are people who are doing a lot of startups. Even if you look at the companies like the big companies which I referred in my presentation, they are actually the leaders are people who have worked in the United States, in the Bay Area, the Silicon Valley for many years, and who plan to return back to the country are sitting at the top of the roles actually. But again, as you rightly, the question, still there are more fabulous small startups that can come up, and I think we are going to see more coming up in the future actually. As of now, there are, but the numbers are less actually.
So personally, I would look forward to you to at least think about few startups or fabulous startups from India.
Saif Bhai invest and Azad starts.
Okay, done.
Inshallah.
Inshallah.
Yeah. So money. Okay.
Inshallah, tabarak taala.
A lot of money is involved here actually. So all these companies, I gave two examples of companies in India, right? One in Hyderabad and the other one in Bangalore, which started recently. They have got huge funding from outside. So we need to have, that pitch or the leadership, who are ready to form a good team to come up with a new idea and build a team, and then get the venture capitalist in to fund your ideas.
True. Yeah. That's the scenario.
But there are people available. There are people available ready to fund. But you should have that.
Exactly.
But you should have that courage, determination, and ready to get out of the comfort zone and get started.
Right. Yeah. All the horizontal skills that you mentioned.
True.
They play a very important part over here.
Yeah.
So there is a question in the chat box. There is one question.
Just a second. Let me go there. Where is the question? Where is the question? I am not.
So, okay, I can read out to you. So one of the
Please.
student is asking, I've completed my engineering in electronics and communications. So which way should I go, software or hardware?
I mean, it's a very general question again. It all depends on that individual's attitude, aptitude, and interest. See, not all people have strong programming skills. Not all people have strong electronic design skills. So that person who has asked this question, so I mean, to me, should ask himself this question: that is he looking at, his, I mean, where is his strength? If he's very good at programming and and all, then he can look at embedded software. If he is very strong in his electronics fundamentals and then electronic design, then he should look at electronic hardware design or the ASIC design. So, if you ask, a general question, I am a BE electronics and communication, which side should I go? You can go in both sides. Both roads are open for you. That is the advantage of a electronics and communication engineer. You don't see a no entry board in any of the roads. That is the biggest advantage of the BE in electronics and communication. All roads are no road you will see no entry. You can become a cloud engineer. You can become a security expert. You can become a ASIC designer. You can become an FPGA. You can get into embedded software. All roads are open for you. So that is the confidence I can give to you today, based on your strengths and your situation. You have to answer this question. Probably, I would suggest you also to get in touch with me if you need my support.
So, as rightly said by Mr. Azad, so all those who are at such crossroads, you can speak to your mentors if you have any, or your guides or your seniors, for some counseling about what is in store in different paths. And then depending on your interest level, you can choose one of the paths to take. So be in touch, makes someone as your guide or your mentor. And
yeah, only one suggestion here, Saif Bhai, sorry to interrupt you here, is that, I've seen, as I mean, said in between, I use the word half baked and all, right? So let me use another word. People don't dig deep enough in any of the areas, then you will be in the crossroads for a long time. See, people, I've seen people who meet somebody, I mean, because you use the word go and do counseling session with a mentor. So you have to first choose the right mentor. That is point number one. And then next is somebody would say, hey, why are you learning C still? And today things have changed. No, it is not at all. But if you are learning C and data structures, go deep into it and learn it properly. Or if you got to learn Python, learn it properly. Or if you got to get into electronic design, learn it properly. So whichever area you choose, if you're going to get water let's say you want to dig a bore well and you're going to expect water at 500 feet and you didn't get it, maybe you have to go 600, 700, little more and get the water in the same place. And instead what happens is, people try up to 500, I don't get water here, go and dig another deep, that is called Python. First they dig a well called C mein water nahi aaya, go to another well called Python, udhar bhi pani nahi aaya, then again go and open another well called cloud mein bhi pani nahi aaya, then again after 2 years they'll come back to C and dig little 100 feet little more, then they get water there actually.
yeah, very rightly put.
So I'm putting in a very simple way of understanding, with common sense actually. Wherever you dig deep. And the world needs all the skills today.
And keep on digging until you find the
Get the water. Yeah. But again, as I said, you have to be counseled by the right person, the right mentor. So it all depends on to whom you talk to actually. And it also depends on how, your own conviction that, yes, I want to get into this field and I want to be here and I want to prove. That conviction also matters a lot. It doesn't happen because of a mentor actually. You should have that conviction yourself.
Right. So do we have any further questions or discussions? Shahid bhai, anything from your side? Okay, in case of
No,
you don't have,
Yeah, so thanks, Shahid Bhai, for giving me this opportunity. We have discussed many things in a Mashura kind of environment, but today you have given me an opportunity to give a presentation to a larger audience. Thank you for that. And thank you, Sarfaz. Thanks, MFIRD, for this opportunity. And inshallah, some brother mentioned, I'm from my side personally, I'm ready to extend all the support. Whenever you want my help or support, please feel free to call me anytime, and I'll be happy to be a part of this initiative.
Jazakallah.
Jazakumullah, Azad Bhai, and thanks a lot to all the participants for making it a nice and lively session. And we keep on having such regular webinars every weekend. So I request all the participants to keep on joining and bring your other friends and those who can benefit with such sessions. So we keep on inviting industry leaders and experts on these subjects, and it's quite helpful for all of us. So I'd like to thank all of you, and with this we can close the session. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.